All right, just to start out this week, I want to welcome everybody to this PD On Demand session on Twitter for Teachers. Can everyone hear me okay? I just want a quick little thumbs up. Yes, cool. Yep, all right. Perfect. Okay, so essentially social media has become something rather prevalent in society as well as potentially in our classrooms in our schools. Just last week, ASD-S started their own Twitter account, and that's been publicized. And as of right now, it's a static account that is basically just going to be publishing just information about meetings, cancellations, and delays. And when I say static, what I mean is that it's not really managed by anyone. If you tweet it and expect a response back, it's basically an automated system. So, and you can say there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's the way that they've set theirs up, and that's the way a lot of our schools have their accounts set up. And the main idea is just to inform people and to, as well draw traffic to the website that they have. So instead of people having to go to foresthills.com, they get a little message on their tweet that something's been updated, and then they can go to that site and check it out. So it essentially is created to drive traffic back to the site. That being said, I'm going to show you a few pointers. I'd like to go over the basics first, and then maybe get into a few extras about how you can use it in your class, and how you can use it for microblogging, collaboration, and developing a more global PLN. So let's get started. Let's go over here. Essentially, one of the things I wanted to point out was to start out with is basically why Twitter. These are images that I took with my iPhone, and I thought this one was interesting. There's two different events that has happened in the past 6 months that really kind of made me wonder a little bit about why Twitter. And those two events were James Cameron's dive down to 36,000 feet to the deepest part of the ocean, and Felix Baumgartner's jump from 127,000 feet. The interesting fact about that was the two gentlemen didn't join Twitter until like days before those events, and I found it very interesting that both James Cameron and Felix decided that of all the things that they were going to do before they went on their epic journeys was to create a Twitter account. They didn't create Facebook profiles. Websites were already made for them. But the one thing that they did do was create a Twitter account. And the amazing thing about their accounts is, unlike a website, you could follow them through their journey. And the point I'm trying to make with that basically is it's just like live feeds. As it's happening, you're getting the info. As soon as James Cameron and Felix were about to embark, or once James Cameron hit the bottom, he sent out a tweet to let people know he was at the bottom. And I was looking at my phone as that tweet came in, and almost felt like I was a part of that event, much like I felt like I was a part of the Felix jump, because it was sent out as it was happening. And I guess that's the thing that I want to bring along there. It's not static like just watching something on TV. It's not information just coming at you. It's information you feel like you can be involved in, because you can tweet him back. You can have a conversation with Felix. And there's some interaction involved there that you don't get from the one-way transmission of of just TV or just a website. So, yeah, and that's a good hashtag there, Mark. So, again, I just wanted to point out this. We'll get into the glossary later on, but he said, retweet if you're watching me right now. I watched this as it happened, and there was about 50,000 retweets within the span of like 5 minutes. So it's that engagement where people feel like they're involved in being brought in. So whether you're a student or whether you're a parent following a teacher or a class site, they feel like they're a little bit more involved and that they can interact with the teacher on another level. Okay? And this was the tweet from James Cameron when he hit the bottom. And and this was the tweet that Felix sent out right before he jumped from 127,000 feet. So, and I guess I always start out with this image right here, because the biggest thing I find when it comes to going into social media and moving into something that is brand new is to not be afraid and to give it a go. There are definitely some restrictions. Being teachers, we know that when it comes to Facebook and when it comes to Twitter, there is a conduct that we are supposed to follow, but it's really not all that difficult. Think about it as just basically microblogging, like a newsletter, anything that you would basically send home. The only difference with your account is you still are allowed to show that you're human. You can tweet out about your favorite sports teams or something like that. Just refrain from any terms, words, or phrases that would be considered inappropriate. And you guys are all adults, you know what those are, so we don't need to go into that any further. This is basically the home page of what your Twitter profile can look like. This is mine here. What I'll do is I'll just bring over mine right now, and we can get a live version of this. So if I go to my home page, once this loads, you'll see that you can customize your Twitter, basically your page, your profile quite a bit. This is a photo I took underwater at Deer Island, and you can put anything you want in the background there. Many people customize theirs to make it look more appealing, more attractive, and yeah, so there are options to customize that, and I can't show you how to do that. So what are you seeing here? Essentially, there's a lot on this page, and there's a lot going on. Right now, what you're going to see here is these are all the tweets from the people that I am following. So this section here is just the people that I'm following. Mark Bates, you can see, just tweeted 1 minute ago. Obviously, he's paying attention to me and hanging on my every word. So that being said, it's a great little distraction tool as well, I guess, if you're bored during a presentation. Thanks, Mark. It'll also give you suggestions of who to follow. So it'll look at the accounts that you currently follow and accounts that are similar to you and give you suggestions. The number of your tweets is right here. If I click on that, it's basically going to show me all of my tweets. So now this section is going to start with my profile up here. I've customized this image, my profile picture, and these are all my tweets. The important thing to note right now is to make sure that your bio is always updated and is one that is going to get people to want to follow you. Right now you'll see, and it may not be all that great because of the background I have here, but it says ASD-S EdTech mentor, Deer Island diving enthusiast, Red Sox fan, Port City promoter, and dabbler of code, St. John NB, and then there's my website. The main reason for having a good bio is if you want people to follow you, if your bio is just left blank or just says St. John NB, then there's no real reason for me to follow you, because that's the only way for people to get to know you on Twitter is by your tweets and by your bio. If someone tweets something that's interesting, I'll usually go check out their profile first before I go follow them. If there's nothing in there, I usually don't add them to my list. So basically, you'll see here on the side, now that I'm on my profile, there's my tweets. I'll click on this and it'll show you the people that I'm following. The most recent ones are up top. So that's that list there. The people that are following me, these are the people that have just recently followed me. So it's a collection of other teachers mostly. And sometimes you'll get fake accounts following you as well. And as you can see here, the people that I'm following is highlighted in blue. People that I haven't followed is not highlighted. favorites is basically almost just like if you found a tweet that you liked, you didn't necessarily want to share it, but you wanted to keep it for later, or you found it really interesting. There's a little icon that shows up here, and you'll see when I hover over this tweet right here, I've already favorited it. And it really is that simple to favorite something. You just have to click on that button and it'll favorite it. And lastly, in your profile, you'll also see lists. So let's click on that. Lists are basically a collection of different groups. The good thing about lists is it allows you to kind of just, if you're just in the mood for education, and you just want to follow those people that are, you know, in the know about education, you don't want to look at the sports teams, the bands that you follow, and entertainment jargon, you can just add a list, subscribe to a list, or create your own list of people that you think that you want to follow for a specific purpose. Because this is PD on demand, we're going to focus on education ones. The good thing about this is it's really quick. If I want to go through this list right now, I can more than likely find numerous different resources in a short period of time. Web 2.0 tools, I can click on that link and go. Shelley Terrell. The Gates Foundation has their own account, and more on the top 50 innovators in education. One of the things that I've found with Twitter, and the reason why I always go to it, is that I always find something new and I always find something interesting on it. And it's essentially become my magazine or my educational news feed. That's where I go to keep up on all things current and all things new. The thing that you'll find is you'll have favorite people that you kind of associate with or you think have great ideas. One of the guys that I found recently whose blog is just amazing is Steve Wheeler. He's a professor in London for learning technology, and he's also an international speaker. And every single week he's got at least a few new blog posts that are just awe-inspiring and reference a lot of new material and cutting-edge resources and stuff like that. So if you are going to follow anybody, I would suggest following Steve Wheeler. But if you are new to Twitter and you haven't really followed a whole lot of people yet, what I have done and what I will do is I'm going to collect all the names of people that have joined in today. I'm going to email you this list right here. Click on the link, and then right here where it says edit and delete for me, it's going to give you the option to subscribe to the list. And then you can go through and follow those people, and then they're going to start showing up in your feed. If you're going to start using this as a professional learning tool, that's the first thing I would suggest doing is going in, clicking on the members, and as I'm already following them, you would just go through and hit follow, 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 and then their tweets are going to start showing up in your account. So if you're new to it, that's the first place I would go, and that's the first thing I would do is start to follow these people here. Okay, so we've gone through home. We've gone through the Me section. And before we move on from the Me section, I think I'll just go into the settings right here. You'll see that little cog wheel up at the top. If I click on that and go into settings, this is going to bring up all my options for the email that I use, the username that I have, the time zone that I'm in. And on the side here, there's all the different options for what the design of my page is going to look like and what my profile is going to look like. Just to save time, I'm just going to show you how you change your header and change your photo. If you are using this for a teacher account or whatnot, I would suggest having a picture of yourself up there so people can kind of see you. I had a picture of me scuba diving, which was kind of counterproductive and not best practice because you couldn't really see who I was and it didn't really add that personal touch to it. But it's good to have that personal aspect and recent photo of yourself so people can get to know who you are. If you have a class account, though, I might go and use an avatar or just some sort of image that maybe you had your class create. And the header image could even be a picture of your school in the background if you wanted, just to kind of give it that sort of feel. And this is where your bio info would go right here. Once I've updated that, I can then click Save Changes, and then that's going to show up. All right. So let's just quickly go and take a look at a glossary. Zoom over here. So, all right. I'm going to send out this Prezi as well, and all these links are going to be active in that Prezi. This is a shortened glossary. There's a fuller one that they have that's about almost like 10 pages long that you can use as well, but I'm just going to go through the basics right now. Retweet. You've probably heard this before. Essentially, a retweet is when someone has tweeted out something that you think is really interesting or important for your followers to know, and all you have to do is hover over that tweet that's out there. This is just an image. And then you'll see on the bottom here, there'll be the options for reply, retweet, and favorite. As long as you click on retweet, it's going to show up as one of your tweets that you've created. And right now, this is just one of. There's a reporter in the city that was telling Mike Walton about something new, and I thought it would be good for people to know about. So I retweeted it out. And you can see the difference between my tweets and my retweets because the image of the person that created that actual first tweet will show up in my timeline. You can quote a tweet. So here's an example of Greg Norton quoting a tweet by Michael Welton. This is an option typically only found on phones. When you click on this button right here, it'll give you the option to retweet or quote tweet. And essentially all it does is it takes the quote that was, or the tweet that was created, puts quotation marks around it, and then you can add something onto it. So right now Greg Norton commented on something that Michael Walton tweeted out, and he just wanted to add hashtag Saints just so that it would get out there and publicize it further. And an example of a reply is Mike Walton caught that Greg had quoted his tweet and wanted to reply to that and thank him for doing so. So he looked at the tweet. As I said before, the option comes up on the bottom, reply, retweet, and favorite. He clicked on reply and then made this comment back. And essentially, this is what you would call, there's Twitter etiquette. And this is a good example of Twitter etiquette right now by Mike Walton. Direct message. If you're following someone and they're following you back, you can send them a direct message. These are some of my direct messages right here. And basically it's something, if you just want to send them a private message and you don't want to send it out there, you can send a little direct message to someone just to let them know something. You don't really want to publicize it and send it out to the whole world, but you want to send it specifically to them. Maybe you don't have their email, phone number. This is a good way to get a hold of someone. Handle. You may hear Twitter handle. A Twitter handle is basically your identifier. Mine is @PSweeze. You can see right there. Mark's is @MarkABates. And I think Tim Lukey's is just @TimLukey. So, and perfect. Okay. Now, interactions are basically any interaction at all. If someone has quoted you, if they've retweeted you, if they've followed you, if they've favorited your tweet, that's basically considered an interaction on Twitter. And this is just an example of some of my interactions from a week ago. If you just want to look at strictly just your mentions, It'll feed out all the follows and favorites and all that kind of stuff. And these are just tweets where people have included my handle, so I know that they're talking about me online. It's good to go to your Connect feed and check that out every once in a while, because you can kind of you can manage it and manage what's being said about you. So for schools and teachers, this is important, because if someone's out there asking questions, you can get back to them in a timely way and respond to them through this mention section. The big one that you may hear a lot out there is hashtags. If you watch Monday Night Football, you'll see that they have hashtag MNF. The recent election in the States, there was hashtag just debates or election debates. Yeah, debates 2012 and election 2012. Essentially what it was is a hashtag is considered an ongoing conversation around a specific topic. You'll see in this tweet here by Michael Welton, he's included 3 hashtags: EdChat, EduTech, and Renaissance City. They can be created by anyone, but essentially, since he's created a tweet with Renaissance City in it, any other tweet out there with hashtag Renaissance City can be found under that hashtag in the Discover feed. And I'll show you what I mean by that right now. So let's just bring over this again. When I go to my Twitter page, alright, you'll see this Discover icon up here. I'll click on that on the top, and then I can just put in EdTech, and anyone that has included a tweet with the hashtag EdTech now shows up here. So you'll see that one that we saw in our ASD-S tweets to follow one has shown up in here because he included the hashtag EdTech. There's a number of different ones about education. There's EdChat, that is a global one for everyone to talk on. There is EdChat SS for social studies, EdChat Literacy or ENG for English. There's a number of ones out there, and typically what ends up happening is, for example, the EdChat Social Studies one, you can tweet to it at any point in time that you'd like, but it is commonly known that EdChat SS, the Social Studies one, is contributed to for about an hour or so on Thursday evenings. So people will jump on Twitter on Thursday evenings and have a conversation with other educators about things regarding to how they're teaching social studies in their classroom, which speaks to that positive learning network that you can develop using Twitter and that collaboration aspect that you may not typically have, so it reaches that broader audience. All right. Let's just go back to here. There's also URL shorteners. Typically, Twitter does this for you. Whenever you put a link in on Twitter, it automatically shortens it. If you don't know, Twitter is constricted to 140 characters, which means, unlike Facebook, where you can potentially have ramblings and such, you're stuck to just having that 140 characters. Because of that, Twitter will shorten long links using URL shorteners. It'll still take you to the same place, but it saves you some of those 140 characters so you're not wasting them on just a link. So how does it look in the classroom? Essentially, I'm going to show you 2 examples right now, and then we'll be wrapping this up. There was a anti-bullying hashtag conversation that was going on earlier this year, and there was a teacher at St. Malachy's, Chris Stacy, I'm going to give him a lot of credit right here, who wanted to get involved in using Twitter in his class. He was active with it for a few months, and he wanted to basically microblog short poems about anti-bullying, but he didn't want the typical cliche ones like stand up or fight back, because he was in a grade 12 AP English class. So he had students write short 140 character poems to be published through his class account. And this is essentially what he ended up with. Let's see if we can zoom in here on some of these. So these are examples of some of the tweets that were put up by grade 12 kids in St. John. And really they're quite impressive. And what he was able to do it wasn't just done at the point where they tweeted it. The next day they looked at the collection of tweets from the previous class and then started to look at common themes between all the poems that were put together there. And then they organized it into one larger poem that was then published on michaelwelton.com right here. So it was published on Twitter, and it was also published online later on when they put it together. And you can take a look at that too in the Prezi when I send it out there. So that's just one example in an English classroom. Another example is a school collaboration where they wanted to talk about internet safety tips. This is at Lorne Middle School last year. They wanted to do a tweet-off about internet safety tips, and they had class compete against class to see how many tweets that each class could send out in a 24-hour period about internet safety. Essentially, the mentors went in, talked to each of the classes. We gave them a bunch of different resources, printed off some resources, and then gave them instructions on what they were supposed to be tweeting out for that event. I think there was over 800 tweets in the 24-hour period, and it was a great success because it wasn't just the cliched stuff. They were going through resources, finding good info, and then posting it online. There were definitely some issues with kids posting inappropriate things, but Greg Norton and myself sat down with kids and had some real honest conversations about etiquette online, and I think that was probably the best thing that came out of it. It wasn't necessarily the good tweets, but the conversations with the kids that maybe didn't necessarily have a good knowledge of what it was they were doing online. So yeah, there probably may be some mistakes, but I think it's these kind of honest conversations that we can have with kids about this topic that really make a difference. So, all right. The last thing I think I'll do then is basically just show you how to send a tweet. I'm on my page right now. It doesn't matter where you are. You're typically going to see this little blue icon in the top right that says Compose Tweet. What I'm going to do is just say, thanks to all the teachers in ASD. You'll see it comes up for joining in today. Hope you gained something from it. I can include pictures by clicking on this, and it's going to take me to my library, and then I can find a picture that I want. Or I can just leave it as is. Or because I really like this example here, I really want to copy this link from this poem, come back here, say, check out this great class example. Now, it probably won't fit, and that's where we start to play with things. I know Jason Burns is cringing right now about the fact that I'm basically cutting up words. You don't have to cut up words like this, but sometimes it helps. Yeah, I knew, buddy. Sorry. Let's see if I can cut anything else out here. Anyone have anything I can cut out that would make this easier? Oh, thank you. Oh, this one's even better. Jason's going to love this one. That sound good? Okay. And now that's going to show up. So again, I hope you gained something from this. There's a lot more we can go into this. If you want to start a class account and maybe talk a little bit more about other applications for this, please feel free to contact myself, Tim Lukey, or Mark Bates. There's a lot of good things out there that you can glean from this. If you have a smartphone, it's really easy to manage. If not, Mark Bates doesn't have a smartphone, and he has about 800 more tweets than I do. The last thing I'll add is you don't have to tweet things out. If you just want to be a backseat observer, by all means go ahead. For the first year and a half that I had Twitter, I was just basically an observer. I didn't really throw anything out there. It's great to start contributing, but if you just want to sit back and watch for a while, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you need help creating an account, feel free to ask me.